There they are. There's Will the Force. Clever girl. Let's go get him.
Alright guys, it's the last day. ICCC. We're here on the floor. We're gonna
Alright, I'm ready for the picture.
You have to turn you. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Dunes Sea, a show all about that galaxy far, far away and beyond. My name is Connor.
And I'm Seth.
I'm Tony.
I'm Will.
And I'm Grayson. Whoa!
Where'd you guys come from? It's like the Force Ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi.
I almost want to wave to myself watching this right now when this gets done.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's like...
This is so weird.
I know, right? Been hanging out the last few days, but it's like, finally, we got to, like, you're all real people. You're not just like
talking
AI on the screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You guys all have legs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, bodies.
Seth's got a little more than the legs out today. You gonna show them out for free, huh?
You get a sub extra for that.
That's members only content. Yeah, so we're here for ICCC. Tony, what does that stand for?
Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention.
Ah, there it is.
It might be in a different order, but I think those are all the words.
When I go to cons, I don't know about you guys, I like a lot of the vendors and the booths and stuff like that. So like when we go to like Comic-Con, even before we were doing content, we'd only go for like a day because it only takes like a day to walk up and down.
Yeah.
So when we get here, at first my reaction was, this is really small. How are we going to get 4 days out of this? I don't know. But then it kind of, you get to see the magic as you get to go further because we saw Tony right away, saw you guys, and then like you get kind of like almost a very personal experience with a lot of people. So like when you guys go to cons, like what are you guys looking for?
I mean, you're the con guy. That's like...
So for me, it really depends on the con. Usually the bigger ones, it might be like a photo or an auto depending on who's there. The smaller ones, it's just all about the booths, going for the vendors and stuff like that. But what I love about ICCC, I always have to like count it.
Yeah,
I know, me too. That's why I'm always like in my
It's so tricky. ICCC, the thing I love about that, it's more personal and it's like more one-on-one, like with you guys, meeting you guys for the first time, and just with like all the guests and celebrities, because like we're gonna have a lot of crazy stories, but they're just everywhere and they're like friends with us now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's it's not a whole lot, especially because we're here at Media Pass, but then, man, I was wrong. Like, especially because interacting with y'all has been the absolute highlight, but I'm sure we will indulge various stories of the connections.
Oh, it's been insane.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
And real quick, I just, a warning to the audience. Obviously, we're not in the normal setup, so the audio might be a little wonky, and I got the little one in the room over, so she's very noisy. You might hear her from time to time. So that'll be the only cameo appearance she'll probably ever make on this show. So just enjoy. But just put that out there in case you hear screaming from time to time. That's just, them's the breaks. That's how it is right now. But anyway, Will, so your experience at cons, like what do you look for?
I mean, first impression walking in, it was strange how quiet it was. It like, I felt like I was walking into like, so we don't talk over, because all the vendors, everybody's very close, right? Mm-hmm. So all the aisles are a little bit compact and it's spread out. But I mean, for me, I'm not really a convention guy. I could count on one hand the amount of conventions I've been to, but this one specifically, like you guys have all said, being able to be around everybody, like outside of a screen, it's such a different, you talk about the Star Wars community, but to be able to like see everybody and like interact and walk down and be like, oh, what pin are you looking at? Like, oh, you pulled out a comic, great. And like have those little, it feels like we're all having those little wins together and it's really cool.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are also not here. So many people that we've met that like, again, behind a screen, and I'm like, man, this person is so nice, so kind.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I'm so glad that I came just to interact with so many mutuals that we all have, you know?
Yeah.
And this was very different for me because my first time it was at a different location, but I'd never been to the Sheraton. But everyone that went to the one last year said they prefer the Sheraton better. And the first day I kind of was like, I don't know, I think maybe the other place. But then after experiencing it, running into everybody, hanging out in the lobby, like I'm having dinner and like Timothy Zahn's right there, Gold Leader's right there, Jim Swearingen's right there. It's like, is this real?
I know, yeah.
It almost gives you kind of like a summer camp vibe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
because you see the same people for a couple days.
That's a good way to put it.
You're chit chatting with people that like even the celebrities like I was in the bathroom and like I had talked to a celebrity, like he like washing hands, asked me like, how's it going? And I'm like, it's going good. It's like you have no business talking to me. They're like, or you remember talking to me the day before. Like I think that's
I have
again summer camp.
I have to tell how you told me that story because you did not tell it the same way you just told everybody else.
I know.
You did that on purpose. Well, I'm just going to spoil it for everybody then because I was sitting down, taking a break, and you walked up and just. I hadn't seen you in like 30 minutes, and you just walk up and you're like, I was peeing next to two tubes. And I'm like, who starts a conversation like that?
Who's up for MVP of the con right now? YouTube's right now is like, he is up for MVP of the con, at least for me. I know, got a list, but yes, it incredible.
Yes. So, okay, that's kind of the next thing like I wanted to talk about, which is like all the guests here really surprised me because there was like, you look at the headliners, right? There's like Billy D, there's Warwick Davis, and there's like Dennis Lawson, right? And even Dennis Lawson, he's like out there, like just on a table. You just walk by, like we were just coming up with game plans and we're 2 feet away from him, just chilling right there.
Well, that's been almost all the tables. Like today was easily the busiest day, with being Saturday. And I was like, okay, it's going to be like, there's going to be lines at these tables, right? And so just being able to like walk up to people, even on like a Saturday, and they know who we are now. Like, I mean, whether it's Timothy Zahn.
It doesn't help that we all walk in a group.
Well, it's like, there's those guys again. And like,
jokes does like
5 smiling fools.
It's the Sinister Six meme of like all of them, like with the weird background. And I feel like hello, but no, like I mean, but everybody, literally everybody from guests to artists, everyone has been so kind, willing to just sit there and chat with you, ask questions, whether on camera or off camera, genuinely. And I'm sure it's like a lot to be just sit there, especially because so many people can walk up and they're just troopers and they're having genuine conversations with us. And that means a lot to me. And I just think it's a lot more personal. Again, nothing like a con that I've ever been to before,
Yeah, that's a credit to Michael Havens because he's said so many times that the guests that he brings have to be people that want to interact with the fans, have those conversations, hang out with them in the lobby. So he hand chooses who he brings because he wants good, interactions with everyone. And that's great. And there's like some people, he said, I don't want them there because I know they're not going to interact with the fans. So they're not ever going to be at my show. So he's really all about like the fans being for the fans.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And I do think that like this con, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that this one's built more around like building those relationships, like doing the lobby swap and the hotel or like the room sales and stuff like that. I mean, that just gives you opportunity to talk to people.
Yep.
Yeah.
That gives you opportunity to be like, you're not just like a face in the crowd. Like those are happening all weekend long.
The room sales are crazy. I've had like the same group of people come in my room every night. So it's crazy. Like 15 random strangers in my hotel room, and we're all having a great time having conversations. And then you'll see them in the lobby, see them in the elevator, watching Fast and Furious.
I feel like we should give context to what the room sales are because you started it off when there's 15 random people in my room every night.
There's 15 guys in my room at midnight. So basically the hotel...
Watching Fast and Furious.
It's awesome.
The pizza's tonight, though. We haven't got the pizza yet. But
15 guys are bringing pizza.
So basically the hotel allows you to do room sales. You prop your hotel room open.
So you're open business.
Yeah, and literally you have toys and collectibles spread out on the TV dresser, the bed, the chairs. Some people bring tables and fixtures. And that's a very unique experience because you get to go in, find like treasures and get to make these deals and connect. And even last year, there was a picture going around and it was Jim Swearigan. He was in the room sales and one guy had 6 vintage Kenner X-Wings on the bed and he was just there looking at them. And it's crazy because like you're the dude that made that and like you're in this room and there's 6 of them on the bed. Like stuff like that is so special.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's crazy. It's the con after the con, man.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And so like
The con after the storm.
yeah. Right.
I love this guy. I want to take him home with me.
This is what I think makes Star Wars really cool is like all this stuff that we've gotten to do the past few days. It's like, again, I think there is a sort of secret sauce to this con that other cons don't do, which is sort of the person. It's like, it's kind of cramped, but that's why it works. You know what I mean? Like,
It's like camp.
yeah,
It's like a
it
comfortable
really is
long
like that. Like, I think it's a great analogy.
Yeah,
like,
it's
it's like summer camp, but with like content creators and just fans, just regular people, like actors and like
People that want
toy
to be
designers,
there. Yes,
everybody.
the line
But
that Tony said.
it puts everybody, like it drops everybody to like one level, if that makes sense. Nobody's like up here, they're unreachable. Like, of course, you got like guys like Billy D, but he's older and, you know, he has a,
Very famous, yes.
yeah, so he needs to be, you know, he was off to his own room. And I get that. But like everybody else, you know, doesn't matter who you were in that one area. Like I had an experience with I was just talking to a booth vendor and another guy came up and was just talking with us. And the booth vendor was like, hey, you know what this guy used to do for a living? He was like, yeah, stop it. And I walked away. I was like, what was that? He was like, he's the move along guy, like the move along stormtrooper. And he was sitting over there. I was like, oh, okay. You know, it's just no big deal. It was just, we have a million of these stories now. Just from the past like 72 hours. It's insane.
Like, not to take anything away from like Hayden and Obi-Wan, but like move along guy, that's Star Wars DNA right there.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like
First meme.
exactly
First of me.
like it's just like he's important too.
Yeah.
You know what I like? It's
Yeah.
It just gives you a new appreciation.
Yeah.
For these actors and these artists.
I was going to say, I was like, I don't know if it's cool, but I would love to just start kind of going down.
That's what I was going to say is like, I think that brings us right into like this guy. We kind of talked about him a little bit, but Aiden Cook.
We should start how we decide to start the conversation. With
Okay.
Aiden Cook.
Yeah. Seth was being a little baby.
My goodness.
Because okay, I don't know. So on the show we just talked about Solo, and we did not bring up that there was, what is this BC's called, Grayson?
These are the Tognath.
Okay, so there's a Tognath in there, and I jokingly told you that I was just like, hey, do you think that that's 2 tubes?
No.
Yeah.
No, I said that, Seth.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, tomato. Okay, like, all right. But we then we saw him, and then you were like, Seth, you should go up and ask him if that was him. And I'll admit, I got embarrassed because I'm like, dude, I don't know how into this is gonna be. He could just be like, shut up, little kid, and then go back to what he's doing.
Well, I didn't believe you, boy.
Exactly.
Well, I came up to you.
Star Wars are the men.
Well, I came up to you and I was just like, hey, I said, we were in our group, everybody minus Tony, because Tony's grinding. He's doing his thing.
There were 3 videos posted in the amount of time that we were talking.
And I went up to you guys, Seth, and I was like, hey, did you notice at the end of Solo, we didn't talk about it on our episode, but 2 Tubes is there. And you're like, was he? Like, no, that's not him. I'm like, yeah. I said, in the novelization, I'm pretty sure it's like 2 Tubes and Impus Nest go to Saw Gerrera. I'm like, we could go ask him. He's right there. You're like, he's not going to know that. I'm like, he was in the movie. He's going to know that.
Yeah, but we didn't know for sure he was in the movie. Like, yeah.
And then who was the hero that came along? You. Yeah, because you were like, I'll do it.
I mean, like, here's the thing with so many people at cons is like, and this is such a great example of this, is people just forget because they were on movies. It's like, they're people too, you know? And it's just like, just go up and ask. And so that was kind of the thing that we were like, after speaking with Aiden, every person going forward, we're like, let's just have a simple question, and it ends up branching into literally a million different questions, which we have more stories of that. But yeah, I was like, give me the mic. I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's like, so.
And all I could think was in my head, we're just like, what are you talking about? That's all it is.
Well, it was so delightful, his response, because he's a very soft-spoken kind of British guy. And we asked him, hey, gave the setup. Was that you in Solo? He's like, of course, that was me.
I knew right off the. I mean, he knows an extensive amount of like the characters that he plays, because he also, it's a whole slew of just different.
Yeah, he played a ton.
I don't even know if I could remember naming them all just from the photos.
It was
It was so it was 2 tubes here. I want to
Here's the other thing.
So it's 2
Did
tubes.
you guys know that there was 2 tubes?
I had no idea that.
Yes, 2 guys. They're 2 brothers. One of them's a pilot. One of them's like a sniper.
Yeah, but did you know prior to that?
I had no.
I did not know in Rogue One that there
Grayson
was 2
told me.
characters.
Yeah.
Two tubes.
Two tubes. They're brothers. Benedict 2 tubes. That's the one. That's the one he plays.
Yeah.
All right.
And he said the director of which movie, somebody messed it up because they made him the wrong brother
Rogue One.
in the credits, I think. Yeah.
And there's a whole lore that
Because one's a pilot and the other's like a fighter. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe the fighter is the one that's with Emphasis Nest.
Yes.
Not the part. Also with Saw Gerrera's Partisans, but he plays. I mean, I think is, in my opinion, like one of the coolest ones. The first shown practical creature from The Force Awakens.
Yeah. The guy who kind of he's like very hunched over.
Boxes on his back.
Yeah. But yeah, we asked him that question. He was like, "Of course," and it spawned a chain of other questions.
Yeah.
Children, I have a tale to tell.
It was so
like,
cool.
And we just like, it was like literally like gather around the campfire. And just like, we were all just like,
He plays the Thalasiren, so like the sea cow thing that Luke milks in TLJ.
Bulio?
He had Bulio from Rise of Skywalker. He did pickup shots for the K2 unit in Andor.
Yes.
And
Also in Andor, he plays at the end of the heist on not Narkina but Aldhani. He's the surgeon working on Nimic. That's him, and his top, like the top arms are his.
Yeah. And that's the most looks like him too.
You can see it his jawline.
Yeah, and what was neat about that story, I thought that the bottom arms weren't robotic or anything. There was just another dude, just like,
and he couldn't see or hear.
Yeah, he couldn't see or hear anything.
That. Yeah, so he just had to kind of be guessing.
Yeah. But he talked to us like we were old friends. Like he told us stories that we can't tell here.
Please make sure you're not recording. I will tell you this sort of story.
Obviously we want to respect that, so we're not going to tell the stories. But like, it's that sort of like interaction, like answering some questions I've had forever that I'm like,
deep lore.
About like, myths you hear, like a behind the scenes stuff. Like, did this really happen? And he was like, may happen. Like, and he knows like really, really cool stuff.
It's. I brought this up to so many people. I read in a comic recently, and there's an article at the end of it. They're talking about the stories behind the stories, right? Like we love the Star Wars stories, but it's like all the little behind the scenes things. I mean, the amount of stuff Will's gotten of just like little behind the scenes stuff or niche stuff. Like,
I weeded out those VHS tapes as a kid. Those were the ones that I burned out first. Was watching the Star Wars to Jedi, like those VHS behind the scenes. It's honestly, the movie magic makes the world feels lived in, but you understanding why it feels lived in is the best part.
I mean, I think it's also like, this is kind of a hop up, but I feel like we got to talk about either Marc Thompson or Zahn.
That was so much fun.
Yes, Zahn. So when I got the autograph from him, I wanted to ask him about a rumor a while ago when Ahsoka came out, because there was a rumor that someone said that he said he wanted to write a book about the 8 years in Peridia with Ezra and Thrawn. So I asked him that, and his eyes like perked up, and he was like, "There's a trilogy there." And I was like, "Oh," he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm waiting for Filoni to finish that story and give it to me, but I could so easily write a trilogy, or if they wanted a single book." And he was just so excited and like so passionate about it. So that was on the first day. And then the second day, which I'm going to let Connor speak about it more, is when Connor and Grayson went over there, and I was kind of there in the corner watching. and like he asked one question, and it led to 26 minutes worth of questions. And
It was so fun.
Every answer was amazing. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So if you want to speak more about that.
Yeah. So I met Zahn at Indiana Comic-Con briefly.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just,
I you guys did
yep.
that. I remember that photo.
Yeah, just very brief. I'd had like a 2-minute conversation with him, but he was very kind. And we had...
I like your book.
Yeah, I liked your book. I asked him about Jar Jar Jargon's animated Heir to the Empire trailer. I wanted just to try that strategy, if you will, because we found that like piquing their interests, because like Grayson said, they're people too. And it's like you want to treat them like a person and like have a back and forth with them, because it's fun to get your question answered, but you also like want to let them sort of express their fandom in their own way, right? And so I just had a goofy question that I thought might get him rolling, like something about his work, and something I've always been curious about, like the W in the clones. That's in the Heir to the Empire trilogy. So Luke, Jorah,
we found out is Lauk,
Yeah.
and then or Lauk, and then Jorah Sabaoth.
yes,
Yeah.
So they and the reason that he gave us was that it's completely for the medium of the book. He's like, if this was a movie, you would know just because of a costume.
Yeah.
And that, Luke was just wearing a different costume. But because you're reading, he said it would be irritating to write and read clone Luke every time. So he had a more visual, a sort of in print, visually interesting way to write that, which I think is a really unique way to do it. But that was his answer. And then that sort of just snowballed a whole convo. And then Tony came in clutch because my camera died. And I look over my shoulder about 15 minutes in because I'm like, that's a bummer, but it's okay.
Yeah.
And then now he's there filming,
26 minminutes. I did not stop.
Yeah. Seth's been singing the hero song this whole weekend. That's what I was thinking with Tony. Yeah. But,
I mean, I don't get flagged, so that's why I didn't start singing it.
you're not going to get flagged.
And they said a hero now watching us.
Hey, Shad Kruger. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And he got to I felt like he really opened up while he chatted with us, because he
did.
Like, hey, do you want to, and he started to just ask us. He was like, do you want to hear my thoughts on this? Like, do you want to hear my thoughts on this?
How I could fix this? Like, what? Yeah, of course.
So for even some prior context, he's there all 4 days. From it's on a Saturday, so we have one more day tomorrow. And so originally he was on the far side, and then they moved his table for the second day. But we got Connor and I. We all had a lot of books to sign. Yeah, go and pull those up.
Yep.
You're gonna have to send them a photo to insert of the way it looks in the hotel room right now.
Dude, I have been there.
It's like a library.
It's starting to smell like a library. I'm not kidding. If you go to the top, it smells like a bookstore. So here we go. And so I was like, I got all these books, and Connor was very kind of, that's an entire other story here that I have to regale between all of us. But he was kind enough to get me a first edition, or at least a hardcover of the first cover, right? And I was really nervous going up, because I was like, this dude has written a lot of Star Wars books, Yeah. And I was like, okay, got him signed or whatever. And then I told him at the end, I was like, I've got more books. And he was like, whatever you bring, I'll sign, basically. He said like that. And I was like, really? So then I came back, and I was like, I think we had already spoken to Aiden Cook at the time. And I was like, well, let's do the same approach to Timothy Zahn. Well, not with your conversation. That was a different thing, but still.
It's another thing.
Yeah. I was like, I am doing, I've spoken before about this. I'm doing a tabletop campaign, right? And it's set within the parameters of the defined canon, but also.
This was cool. Yeah. This, I was the kid going like this during his answer. Though I was like,
so I hope none of my players are watching this. If you are, turn this off now. I doubt they're listening, because they're not as big Star Wars fans as us. But still, I was like, I had this idea, and I even talked to Will about it the day before. I was like, I had this idea, in the campaign, they go to this one planet that's definitely an interest to the Emperor specifically. And I was like, it'd be really cool if the Emperor's hand was there, more specifically if it was Mara Jade, right? because I'm a big Mara Jade fan, despite me not even having finished the Air trilogy. Like, I'm barely in the Air, and I'm like, this is amazing, you know? And I told him, I was like, I'm sorry, like, I haven't like read all your books, like, but the little bit that I've read, I love. And I respect you tremendously. But I asked him, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this in the campaign. Like, would it make sense? Would the Emperor send her on this mission for this Sith artifact? And he was like, he gave a very in-depth answer of like, well, you know, typically she's hunting down treasonous people to the Empire, investigating them, making sure they're no longer a threat, and again, treason to the Emperor. He's like, but also, like, I think it would make sense. Like, if this is a valuable object that the Emperor is interested in, he's gonna, like, you know, he's not gonna believe himself, but I'm like, he's gonna trust someone who kind of has a higher caliber to the whole thing. And I was like, I'm thinking about having like a Raider class Corvette. Like, once they leave the planet, like, there's Dark Troopers are gonna attack, and he's like, I think Mara Jade is gonna, and he's like, I think you can make that work. He's like, but if, like, you have to know this. If your players get in a fight with Mara Jade, they are going to lose. And I was like, I know. and I was like, well, thank you so much. Like, and I can't wait to tell them that after the fact, even though like they don't really know who Mara Jade is. It's like the satisfaction of like a DM being like, I got the blessing of the creator of the character to be like, yeah, like let her kick their butts, you know? Like, that's awesome.
And if any of them like make a fuss about it, like, we should have been able to be here. Like, listen, I talked to you see the guy right there on the cover of this? He told me no.
I was like, this dude right here. I'm like, nah.
I hope you make it or set it up to the point that like they can't fight her. That like it's just it's like it's a no-win situation. It's like if they try going up, it's over. Yeah.
But it does set up like if there's ever a second campaign of like possibly making her a more primary antagonist, hypothetically, you know.
Yeah, that was
But then that was the first day, and then the second day is when we were like, well, we got more questions. Let's go talk to him.
Yeah,
I mean, we based the whole like pitch of how much he lit up when I asked him that one question. I was like, let's just ask him more. We've gone up to him probably 4 times.
Yeah,
we just keep walking by
4 times a day.
I had my baby with me today, and I walked by him because we'll get into it in a minute, but Seth was next to him for quite some time.
Yeah, the new best friend.
Well, talk about people lighting up.
We'll talk about that. So I was checking on Seth, and I walked by with my baby, and I was just kind of hanging out, and he just started like interacting with her, and it was like, hey, you know, it was like just and so I walked up, and he just like was just talking to my daughter the whole time. It just was just hanging out. He's just such a nice guy. It's like, where do you get that? Like, where else do you get that? You know what I mean?
That's just the kind of stuff I'm talking about, man. Like, every person like has just been the coolest.
Yeah. So we're gonna hopefully have some of these interviews up on like one of our channels, all of our channels. We don't know how that's working yet, but
it'll find its way to you.
Yeah. So hopefully, we have to go through because there's some things that they've requested we don't post. So you know we got to put those in there or take them out rather. But the next one I want to hear about, because this was more of like your story, it was with Ackbar.
Yeah. Who was also, Ackbar, who was also Howard the Duck, who was also Size Noodles, which is, that's a deep cut for me because, like I said earlier, I'm Return of the Jedi, but specifically the behind the scenes of like the puppeteering in that movie magic and the ILM, the Henson's workshop of it all. Tim Rose working on Size Noodles from underneath his rig. And I just happened to be like, hey, so how did that work? Knowing that I've seen it a million times and him being in there. But I mean, you don't recognize him because it's a million years ago. It's different. And he also, you guys for being there, more jokes than a regular stand-up comedian coming out of the guy from behind the table.
Him and his wife, dude. Yeah, like there's
it was really good. But talking to him a little bit about Size Noodles and how the puppet worked and how they had to change different things on set and how he was also the hand for Salacious B. Crumb and how the hand inside of Ackbar worked and for close-up shots when his hand was in the chest and said like it's a trap, it's a hand that in there, not actually a face. It's like it's extremely cool, but he was so like we're going to speak about all these guys, so genuine and so personable, like with their time, generous. To to the point where like we got there and we're talking for so long. I was like, hey, can I get a picture? Just because like their time is more valuable than the cash they're going to get for a selfie or an autograph. But like for that, you always want to, I guess, at least for all of us, is like contribute to them being able to sit there and tell us these stories of this place and this thing that we love. So him being able to be like, oh yeah, well, you know, if you get an autograph, I'll give you a photo with it. And I was like, okay. So I went, got the autograph, and the first one, he like didn't like the color permanent marker. So he wrote, hello, Will, and then handed it to me. It did another one on blue. So I got blue at the same time. And then he pulled out this photo that he was referencing of Science Noodles from the workshop of that building it. And there's two guys under the table where they're actually pulling down the puppeteering and moving the legs and all that stuff. And he just like gave me the photo from his binder. He was like, yeah, since you liked it so much, you keep this. I mean, I know it's his memory, but for me, it's like to have that photo from something I watched for so long, you know?
But now it's your memory. Because now when you look at that, you think about talking to him.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff where like, I'm not the biggest on autographs and like photo ops and stuff like that. I'm not the biggest. I feel, I don't know. I would rather have an interaction like that.
Absolutely.
I would rather have one of those a year than like all of that. So I don't know. It's so important to us as fans to be able to get that validation of like, not only did they make this magical thing that we all love, but they're also just, like you said earlier, good dudes. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's great.
What you said about the like the autographs, I think is important too, because like when we went up to Aiden Cook today, we were wanting to get a photo with him because we wanted to, like you said, pay for his time, because we didn't get a photo the first time. We didn't get an autograph just because I didn't want to bend it. Like it was like we got a lot of con left to go today, but we told him like we will be back, and we went and got his autograph. And like I'll be real, like me personally, like this is cool, but this is the memory of the interaction. Exactly. You know, like I don't care about like his signature so much, like in and of itself, right?
It could be any photo. Right.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that you have a memento.
But then when we asked about the photo, he was like, "Oh, we'll just do that." And you were like, "No."
He's like, "Well, it's usually 40." Like he was like, "Are you going to haggle me for it? Like, am I overpricing my time?" And we were like, "No, tell us it's more money." Like,
yeah, you're here to make money. You know, we want to pay you for your time.
It's a business.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like that. Like. I guess the next person we'll get into, Marc Thompson. We all we were getting a photo with him, and we didn't even realize, because we didn't see on his sign that his photos cost money. We just all got a photo because we were just hanging out with him the whole time. Yeah. And then Seth and I looked like, oh shoot, that cost money.
Yeah.
And it was just $20. But we just went back over like, hey, I didn't see that you were charging. And he was like, no. You guys have been so nice. Like, no, you just take the money.
So I was just like, I'm not putting my hand down.
He was like, you're.
I saw that. So you were like, you did not budge until he took that 20.
He was like your mom who won't accept gas money. You know, he was like, no, stop, no, you take it. You know, to put it in your back pocket.
It was firm. Like, no,
you gotta be.
Okay, so
you gotta tell the story now.
Okay, we gotta with Marc Thompson. So he's audiobook narrator, terrific audiobook narrator. I mean, so talking about the Air trilogy, like I've been listening to him. Mm-hmm. He's excellent. Like before Lars Mikkelsen, like he was Thrawn. Yeah, you know, like that was the voice that you heard.
And more recently on Tales from the Archives, Seth, Will, and I, they both listened to for the Living Force. He did the audiobook for that. He does like 80%.
I was gonna say he also did Dark Disciple.
Yeah, he did Dark Disciple as well, and he does like everything. It's amazing, his impressions. Like you'd think him, like a guy doing like a Saj Ventress over the course of an entire audiobook would be kind of weird. Like, I don't know. It's not. It's somehow he makes it work so fluidly. Like in the Air trilogy, he does everybody's impressions flawlessly. But then like you get to Leia, it still works. Like it's perfectly seamless. It doesn't sound like goofy or like he's doing a silly voice. Mm-hmm. It's very genuine. Yeah. And he also plays Gengar. Yes. What are the other Pokemon he plays?
Cubone, and I think a couple of like the professors in the town. So he has a good variety in Pokemon.
Yeah, and I learned Duke Devlin from Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters.
Dimension the dice.
I had no idea. So I was already a fan of this guy, and I walk up and I'm like, is that Duke Devlin behind him? You play Duke Devlin? No way.
Turtle Soup.
Yeah, Casey Jones. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, very you've heard him at some point, more than likely.
Yeah.
But he's most known for his audiobook work. And we go up and I went up to him the first day we were there, and I just mentioned to him how much I loved his audiobooks. And like I was asking him about how different it was to jump from his Thrawn to doing, because he does sort of an imitation of Lars Mikkelsen now when he does Thrawn.
Right. Yeah.
And we just had a good conversation about that. And he was like, oh yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And then we all came up and talked to him later, and that was cool. And then the next day when they moved, we went up and you mentioned Star Wars Unlimited, which is a game you like.
Yeah. Can you grab the card? Yeah. He had these cards to sign, and
that's right. That's how you mentioned it.
Yeah, it was on that first day, and I was like, oh, I think it's cool that you have a Thrawn card, Star Wars Unlimited, and he just he's like, do you play? And I was just like, I do, in fact, play. And we just started talking about Star Wars Unlimited. Like, it was like, it almost felt like all the lights went out.
I was just about to say, I was like, everything went dark and there was a spotlight.
Exactly.
Spotlight on.
Yeah, where it was like, he's just like, did you see the cards they spoiled today? And I was like, no, I've been here. And he was like, is this real? And like, he pulled it, and I'm like, to me, they look real. And yeah, that it was kind of wild. And then you guys joking, I don't even know how it came up, where it was like, do you want to play? And then I
said it. I was like, you should come on and you should play cards sometime. And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I was like, it was kind of like the Two Tubes thing, where I'm like, this is nuts. Like, yeah. And again, like, I think that it was just kind of like starstruck or whatever. I'm like, we can't play Unlimited. Like, what are you talking about? And so I was like, no, we don't need to play Unlimited. And
we walked away, and all of us scolded you. Yes. Like, what are you doing, son?
Yeah. And yeah.
Well,
that's not the end of the story.
Well, wait, there's more.
Yeah. So yesterday I went up to him and I took a knee, and I was like, hey, just so you know, like, I hope you didn't think that I was like being a butt or anything like that. Like, I was just like, oh man, I got in my own head. Like, that was the whole, like, and I was like, why would this guy, you're you and I'm me, why do you won't play cards with me? So I was just kind of like, nah, like, we don't need to do that. Like, that is nothing against you. Like, that was all me, and I'm sorry about that. He goes, no, it's cool, it's all right. And I was like, if you have time this weekend, I will play cards with you, just so you know. And he was like, okay, sounds good. I was like, I'm serious, you just hit me up. And I was like, we might also bug you for the show, just so you know. Like, if you, no pressure. Like, I would play, like, at that point, I was still just thinking playing on the show. So I gave him a card, and he told us how to contact him, basically. And then today, my wife and I were walking past him. I went like this to him, and then he just stops, stares at me, and he opens up a bag, and I can see the cards. Yeah. We playing later?
I know, it's so funny.
And I'm just like, I look at my wife, and I'm like, can I play? And she was just like, you should play. And you guys were all like, yes, you should play. And I'm like, all right. So we little deck tech, and then we played a little Star Wars Unlimited day.
You were there for hours.
You were there most of the day.
Yeah.
You taught him how to play.
And now they were side by side.
I know. Just some deck tech. That's all. I didn't teach him how to
And by the way, Thompson and Zahn were side by side, and the whole time, like, Zahn was like just watching you guys just play.
Yeah. And that's another thing as well. Like, I mentioned this today. We have been approaching them many times. And so sometimes we'll split up our group. We'll, like, a couple people will be at Marc Thompson and a couple people will be at Zahn's.
Yeah.
It's every time, no matter what, whether we're all together at one or we're split, they're looking over at each other. Like, when we did that with the Zahn story, Marc Thompson, apparently, according to whoever it was, is over there like,
no, he was full smile, just he's like, listen again, soaking in every word. It was great because they're fans, and obviously he's the voice of his character. So where are you going to get that inside baseball on that to be able to understand the character of the creator of that? Like, and just sit right next to him. Also, too, like, if you look at the people who have played through it, like, that's 2 out of 3 of them right there.
Yeah.
So for them to be kind of fans of each other's answers and all of that, the visual, like, just the blocking of us going by and then just seeing the back of Seth behind Mark's table.
Yeah.
Like where they're selling stuff and Mark like breaking from in between talking to you about the card game and then also like going up and doing signatures and signing stuff. He's like, okay, thank you. And then turning around and you're both like just from the back of your heads dealing cards back and forth and shuffling and like it was great to walk by and see that.
And then at one point I heard, I don't know if one of you guys said it, but like Timothy Zahn was like, excuse me, Mark, you have guests, because you guys were so involved in your game.
We were just, it was
Just two passionate people.
we were just, again, we were making each other better. That's all. Yeah.
And that's been the magic, man. And like, not even to say all the people we met, like obviously we all met and that was super cool.
Yeah.
And like CraftingOnIlum was there. We met TalesFromToscheStation. That was really fun. Who else? Ricky was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pop the Bounty Collector.
Yeah, I met him for the first time too.
I'm forgetting. Who else?
What's up, Ricky?
For context, they like know each other very well.
Like 2 decades, but who's counting?
Let's see. I'm blanking. General Kenobi's bunker. Nilda. Shoot.
Chris the Nerd Dad.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Chris is awesome, dude.
Chris is great.
Who made your headband?
Oh, FangirlingOverJesus. She was there too.
I was gonna bring up all of the like that's just people.
That was just the people we saw there. Not even to mention the vendors who are also creators.
Like engaging with other creators.
So it's a good thing to have.
Hans Pens. She told me, she's like, it's Hans Pens or Hans Pens. Is that what you want to say? Because her name's Hannah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like tons of vendors. Like you mentioned, Hans Pens, EtherealValor. Please go check her out. Her stuff is amazing. She's great. She does all kinds of like Lord of the Rings, Narnia, and Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
And she is as big of a Kanan fan as I am. So I literally within an hour of the con, she had this little painting of a loath wolf. I believe it is Doom. And it's just this little canvas painting. And I was like, I'm buying that. Yeah. And she's already working on something else. And I was like, when you finish it, going to buy that if you will let me. FangirlingOverJesus already mentioned. Enamel Empire.
Oh my gosh,
stuff is crazy.
Their stuff is insane. Like I'm not a pin guy, but you guys, I don't know. I might have to be a pin guy. I hope not, because I don't need that.
It's a danger.
You'll step into a lot of
Yeah.
You got a path I can't follow.
Even just talking about that, isn't that all crazy though? We just talked about people from very vast swath, like vendors, celebrities, other content creators, just people walking around and like all just it's all like I'm not as frequent. I guess it's maybe a question for Tony, because you've been to way more than me, but like in my limited experience, I've been to like local cons a few times.
Yeah.
Like it's very transactional, which I expect that is like, this is unique, right? Like for this convention.
100% unique. There's nothing like this. Like when I went last year for the first time, it blew my mind how it was and how intimate it was. Like last year, I got an autograph from Steve Bloomzeb, Ezra, Sabine, and Hera, all the voice actors from Rebels, within 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I just went from one to another. And that experience blew my mind. Usually you wait an hour to get into the con.
Yeah, I know. That's another of my thoughts. It's like just thinking, I know that Hayden and Rosario Dawson like are on kind of another level, but like that was like a 3-hour waiting.
That was a venture, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, it's so different. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But all right, rapid fire, just favorite part from the convention so far. All right, Seth, just go down the line. Hit me.
Oh gosh, do I have to be first?
Yeah.
Okay, well, can it be a tie?
Sure.
Okay. I think either playing cards today was awesome. It was tied with going to that record shop that we thought was a comic book store. Because we went and searched.
What? Arthur Soto here. Like, I still have to Facebook the pictures.
Should we tell? I mean, now we got to tell the story.
Well, I don't know the story.
So the whole thing is we went looking for is it a legacy collection, epic collection? Omnibus of the Thrawn trilogy, okay, in comics. Okay, that was released like a month ago. So we were like, there's got to be a comic book store around here that has one. So we went in search of one, and then it was like, it looks like there's this comic book store here across the street. It's
There's a very important part that comes before that.
So we went to one. Awesome, got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, instead of driving around, it was like, let's just call them and figure out, like, we'll find the one that has it, and then maybe we can go to the other ones or whatever, just because so we don't waste our time driving around. And so I go down through the list, and the first one is this place. And it's listed on Google Maps as a comic book store. And I was like, all right, cool. I called. They're like, it's like kind of fuzzy. They're like, oh, hello. I was like, yeah, I'm looking for this Marvel Epic Collection of the Thrawn trilogy. Came up pretty recently. I'm like, let me go check. And like, they're on hold for like 5 minutes, and the time ticks and ticks.
You remember when I was like, "I'll give you $100 if he comes back," and then you go, "Yeah, I'd like a large fry, a burger."
And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. But then he was like, nah, yeah, like we don't have it. And I was like, okay, yeah, no worries. And I was like, but it was the closest one. We called like 6 other places. And they were like, well, let's just go to the closest one.
Yeah, just for fun.
Continue, Seth.
And so we get there, okay? And it says like in the description, it's in the basement. Okay. Basement of the Alamo, like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, record store.
Record store.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I know, but it's in the basement. Okay. Yeah, all right. So we go in there and we're looking around and everything, looking for stairs and stuff like that. And they're kind of like, well, I don't see it. I go, whatever. So I just walk right up to the guy. I don't know why this was the time I chose to be brave. I walk right up to the guy. I go, listen, I read on the internet that there's like a basement and there's comic books. I said that. I was like, yeah. I read on Google that there's like that there's a basement. There's comic books down there. Is that true?
That was delivered message, but
and he just stared at me and he goes, yeah, we had comics. They're over there on that shelf.
It was a single
by one shelf that was maybe 4 feet tall. No comic books. They were all like hippie graphic novels.
Now, Will, there was a Luke Cage comic.
I go like, Marvel comic. He goes like, no, he goes, they're over there. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, it's an independent guy. He writes his own books. And,
I had no idea about that.
That was what he said. Yeah, he was like,
What did John is that they were on the hold for 5? What were you looking at? I guess. Contact. When he's just walking around the desk. No lie. For the desk is where Grayson is, and the shelf is here. Well, he just had to get up and go. He didn't even get up. Just walk. Look at it.
It was really, I mean, we spent so much time going this place. And you were like, I can't believe we went all the way out here. Well, we made so many wrong turns. It ended up being like a half-hour drive for a shelf.
so anyway,
I have more comics on my shelf at my home. Yeah. Like, it's like, it's a Marvel print. There's literally only one Marvel comic on there. I was like, you gotta know, bro. Like,
yeah, and that's fine. Like, if that's like, hey, that's cool that you have like an indie, you're supporting an indie artist. But why'd you put us on hold, brother?
It's on Google Maps. It's to make a pit for it. When you search comic books, it pops up.
It's not even a hole in the wall. It's like a shelf. Just like,
it's a shelf and a hole in the wall.
So anyway, Star Wars Unlimited game. Really, all the Star Wars stuff, the Star Wars Unlimited that's happened. Like, because it's been good this week. And then that shelf.
Gotcha.
Those have been my favorite things.
All right, Tony, yours.
So honestly, I think it would be last night. And I was kind of telling you about it earlier today, but there was a moment, it was like 11 at night, and everyone from the room sales kind of left the room, and it was just all of us in there. So I'm just sitting and watching everyone have their separate conversations like in the room, but it's like, wow, I've met all these people online over the past year, 2 years, and we're all in this same room. It just blew my mind, that moment, just looking like, wow, like I know all these people like from online and we're all here. Like that moment was just so special, just like meeting everyone and then just being in there. It was really, really cool.
I liked that I got to show the Raid and the Protector. People who had no idea what I was.
Hold on. That's my favorite.
Oh, no way. What?
I said this at Records. My favorite moment. We're in the room.
Yeah.
Last night, after the room sales, we're all sitting there, and I'm an old man, so I sit down and I do the bed groan. Seth, we walk into the Fast and Furious is on the TV.
Yeah.
And
Well, CraftingOnIlum, because I kind of did the same thing. 'Cause I was kind of sitting there a little glum because I was tired.
Yeah.
And
It was bedtime.
It was. I was tired, and she looks at me and she's just like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm good." And like, and we started talking. Like that, I got up because I'm like, "Oh, clearly she wants to talk." And it's so, yeah.
I'm sitting on a bench probably here, and there's a small group forms, a collective. And Seth goes, the room kind of goes silent for a little bit. I don't know. There was like Fast and Furious, but I heard it was just, "Can I show you a scene real quick?" He pulls out his phone and starts explaining, and everybody's huddled around your phone. I don't even remember what you're talking about.
We were talking about Fast and Furious 7.
We went on a chain about Fast and Furious, which one was the best one, the action scenes that like I think you guys want to do an action. Anyway.
Well, Connor and I were just like, we were joking that like maybe we need to, our next venture beyond the Dune Sea, maybe it should be about family.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how English it, by the way, to the crowd last night.
Yeah. But truly, like, Tony, just like you said, like, that moment of being able to, like, look up and you guys were all, like, laughing and talking about that. Yeah. There's other people we all know all in the same spot. And, like, at least for me, I started doing, like, the certified Star Wars yapping online, 2 years ago? Because it was like I was either talking to the wall about it or talking to my wife about it, and the wall and my wife really didn't want to hear it anymore. They are very nice to me, but like to get in contact with other fans who are just as passionate about it, to be able to talk about stuff like Lugubrious Moat and deep cuts about Star Wars that we truly enjoy. If you don't know who Lugubrious Moat is, look it up, and that's all we're going to say.
You don't need to know more.
Yeah, that's it. But
Deep cut.
yeah, but stuff like that where you look around, and for me it's like, oh, I've interacted with all these people and lucky enough to like call you guys friends now and be able to drive 10 hours to get here and pick him up and then another 5 to get here, and it's like we're all just having fun, man.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yep. Yeah, you're making me emotional, dude. Like I was like, that was issue.
Sing, check where we're gonna be able to start crying.
And now watch here. Now watch here.
You're gonna get demonetized.
I am. Sounds too close.
Tony legal. Like he's gonna pick that up.
Didn't realize he was here. And
The algorithm's gonna catch it. I mean, it's my favorite. I think my favorite has to be the Zahn, like all the Zahn stuff, but like definitely the campaign thing of just like, I got this idea, it's this cool thing, and it's just, I think that works, you know. And of course he said it in his Timothy Zahn is such an intellectual man, like
it's very eloquent, like physics, like has physics degree.
He was when he was writing Heir to the Empire, and this might be public knowledge, but like he was working on his doctorate. And I was like, crazy. There's like things that he factors into his stories that I was like, never would have thought of that. But yeah, just that, I mean, that like, and then just all those chain reactions of just different little stories. And now we're just like, there's those guys that are walking by and they're like, hey, what's up? You know?
Yeah.
I asked Timothy if he wanted me to teach him Star Wars Unlimited, and he just kind of stopped and stared at me, and I'm like, I'm kidding. Like,
Well, he did crack jokes every once in a while.
He did. Yeah, he was definitely into it.
He goes, hey, that's not how you use that.
And I do have one last thing, but I don't want to say in the case that it is yours. It's kind of been it's more about a moment than an ongoing thing, but I want you to say your moment.
Oh, okay. Well, you two kind of stole mine, where it was like just the meeting everybody, you know, where it's like that, like in those moments. But if I could boil that down to like a singular sort of a granule thing that kind of combines everything, I would say that moment when we were at Zahn's table and we were all talking, it was like we were really in a groove. We were all talking, like I said, about that kind of level playing field. It all just felt like we were just chatting to somebody we knew for a long time. It was like me, you, like everybody's just hanging out. And then I look over and like the camera died. And I was bummed. I was like, I bet it got like, 8 minutes. It's not a big deal. It's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk. And I just look over my right shoulder. I'm like, Tony's there.
Guardian Angel.
I'm like, these are just the homies. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, what other friend, would do that? Because like, just on the same wavelength,
Yep.
you know what I
Yep.
mean? And like, it sums up that idea of like, not only do we get to have all these great interactions, but we're also friends. We kind of get each other, we're all kind of doing very similar things. We have kind of similar mission statements and things like that.
And my foot almost fell asleep too, because I was like,
I was holding this so long.
26 minutes, and I didn't
26-minute
wanna move.
conversation.
It was
Yeah.
the whole thing.
And so that was just like, I know it's goofy to say, but that like actually meant a lot to me. Like I looked over and I was like, he's been here for the whole time filming this, like after our camera died. And like, I didn't say that. Like I wasn't like, oh man, our camera died.
Yeah.
It was just there like the whole time. So like, that was really cool.
You said something that has kind of been popping up over the last couple of days of like, when one of us wins, we all win. And when we all win, it's like one of us wins. It's like,
Your success is my success, and my it's like it's a shared, just like it's not like a leeching thing. It's a thing of like we all just uplift one another. We make each other better.
I'm sure that like once all of the videos are out, there's going to be so much like cross, like, and that's kind of the cool part of it, It's just like, it's almost like, not to be cliche, but like a certain point of view, it's the same thing, but
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yep.
But what was yours? What was your other extra thing?
Well, I mean, this is like it's just been such a fun thing that we've been doing, and there will be footage of this. I believe it's already on Tony's channel at the moment, but it's we all came here with gifts for one another. Like I like giving gifts. I know Will love.
you post a trash can thing?
Oh, did I?
He did.
Man, that makes me look so dumb. Okay.
No, it's so much fun.
I clipped it though, so it looked like you found it quick.
Okay.
He did. There was a jump
3
cut.
minutes of searching. Not that there was 3 minutes of searching.
Yeah, it was like 6.
Yeah, yeah. I had to go wash the coffee off my.
Oh, sorry. That was like
That was so funny.
definition of fumbling the bag.
That was so funny.
And it fell into a trash can.
So Will. So for context, Will, he's so been, like Grayson just said, it's almost been like a competition. Like they've been like just getting stuff for each other. And Will was very kind because I've been mentioning I love coins. Like that's kind of my thing. And he brought over all these gifts for all of us. And he pulls out these 2 coins. One of them just flips right into a trash can. It was like
a very thick plastic sleeve. Okay. It was
but it was so
All I
funny.
saw was Batman Forever.
But yeah, like I mean, we had already been talking. Like you were like, oh, you got me that air copy, and then all of this, like I had stuff. Well, that's stuff for me when he pulled to my house. I had stuff for him, and then
Bro, you saved that card for me yesterday at the
Yeah, so
we swapped.
yeah, I got him that loot card because he was like, oh, you take cards? Like, no, I was like, I got you. Just sell me. He's like, cool. And I was like, just keep it, bro.
I tried to hand him cash, and he just turned, and all the cash fell on the ground.
And whenever I said you're picking that up, you're keeping it.
It was just with the sickles on the floor, and I was like, great, thanks. But I mean, I got a nice gift out of it.
Of course.
it's definitely not over yet. I mean, we've got some things planned, but yeah, it's just been like oh man, like I kind of like this, and then someone finally coming in and be like, or like literally with that Air Mara Jade cover of like the like, oh look at this, and like distracting to like I'm like no man, I'm like it's nothing but love. Like, and that means a lot to me. It's like you're talking about, like, just that's the end of it. Like,
and that's kind of what Star Wars boils down to, I think. Is like, I know Star Wars is a goofy movie series about space wizards, but like, would we all be here, if not?
we would not be sitting on this couch at this moment in time without this franchise about like
I think it's
wizards with lightsaber. Yeah, it's sick.
And contributions of all the people that we've mentioned earlier that we were able to meet. Like, I know we got to, I don't know how this happened, but like we were able to like talk to Zahn on camera a little bit. And then the question was like, why do you love Star Wars? But at the end, I was like just thank you, because I'm part of the reason why I love Star Wars is because of stuff that you have contributed to Star Wars. So it's fed into it.
It's part of the reason why I love Star Wars. It's because you love Star Wars.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
You kept saying that, like,
yeah.
you kept saying that as like, there's something that like in Star Wars, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then we've talked to Aiden Cook, Timothy Zahn, Marc Thompson, whoever it may be, and they tell a story behind that. And it's like, why now immediately love that 10 times more? Even if it was something that I maybe didn't love, I'm like, well, now I at least have a newfound appreciation for that moment.
Yeah,
because
why
it's
it
like
is that way.
Yeah, and because they're so passionate about it, like their craft and whatever little thing it was, it's cool.
Yeah, like I'll be real, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole Luke drinking the milk scene, but hearing the work that went into that,
Helicopter freaking it.
yeah, it's like I kind of have a little bit more.
Can't not think about that.
Yeah, like
the guy that was in there.
Yeah, there's somebody in there. That's not an animatronic.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I think it's a good time to transition into the fan segment. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear your mind.
Hey, we're back at BDTS HQ out on the Dune Sea. We had planned a whole little thing with the guys for the fan segment because we are big fans of them, and that was sort of the joke. We brought them some things.
We did a big kind of gift exchange kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of a token of our appreciation for them because this whole experience has been just a sort of gift competition, like Grayson just alluded to earlier in the episode. But editing it, and now it's been a few days after that, just really great experience. I think it's a moment best left between friends.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the camera sort of disappeared anyway. Like we were just chatting amongst each other. And so I'm just going to leave that one on the cutting room floor, I think. But I did want to emphasize sort of the heart of of some of the stuff we were saying during that segment, which is like those guys.
Genuine people.
Yeah.
Very, very genuine people. And if you're not following them, you should follow them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Their videos they are every bit as genuine as they appear on camera. And even that is not a fair representation of the type of people that they are when you meet them in person.
Yeah.
All of them, including not just them, but the other people we met there as well, the other content creators.
Yes.
But we've been good friends with our Tales from the Archives crew for a little bit since we started Tales from the Archives. And so it was an absolute pleasure to share like the physical space, and have a physical show with them. That was a lot of fun, not behind a screen. Once again, huge thank you to all three of you, Tony, Will, Grayson, for being on the show. And it was delightful to meet you guys in person. And I can't wait for the next time. But I did want to just real quick, in the spirit of sort of the gift giving competition, show off a little bit of what these guys are giving us. So Will, and you'll see it in some of the videos, but he got me these 2 coins. Ahsoka from Rebels, Ahsoka from Clone Wars, and the back has the lightsabers with like the world between worlds. Oh, these are so cool. I love these. These are just awesome. And so he just sort of surprised me with that, and he surprised you with that card, right?
Yeah. He got me the Marc Thompson signed Thrawn card from Star Wars Unlimited.
And that was before the shenanigans really took off.
Yes, it was before the card game to end all card games happened. Yeah.
And then Will showed up right before the show, actually. Or no, sorry, it was the day after. They stopped by again just to hang out. The Star Wars archives, which I looked through these a little bit. Dude, these are so cool.
They are very cool.
So that They're again,
kind of holy grail. Yeah. And I can't show you guys right now, but here, I can hit this. Grayson, my Seth Solo getup got kind of damaged when we went to Mount Tantus.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I can show you that he helped upgrade a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited whenever Seth Solo decides to come back that he'll have a whole new look.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Grayson really hooked you up.
Yeah.
And he got me, he got us this print for the show, this limited edition Bad Batch, as sort of as a commemoration of that. Cause Grayson provided the voices for all of the clones.
Yeah.
When we did those skits, and that was a lot of fun. So that was great. And some pins too, just a lot of love, but really the capstone of everything, which I don't even know that I can show it all here.
Yeah.
Just give you a taste of it because we're going to be putting it on the set, is this guy.
Yeah.
Right here.
It's
Clone Wars display.
Yeah.
And you can see like DVD, toys.
Yeah. I mean, like that is like just a time capsule in of itself.
Yeah.
And it kind of warmed my heart when they were just like, you guys had to have it. I mean, look at them. That's you and Connor right there. Like comparing us to Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like I just like, you guys are too kind.
Yeah. And they all pitched in for that. And that was really cool. Yeah. So just wanted to sort of pop in here,
and just sort of show our appreciation for the three of those guys.
Yes.
It was really special to do that. And it was really special to be able to record that episode. But again, I felt like what we recorded with them in that just one segment, like, this is best left.
Yeah.
Best left between friends, I think.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fun. But I will cut back into, we did geek out over some Star Wars or insiders at the end.
Some magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the last little snippet of our recording. So I'll go ahead and we'll transition back into that, and you can see us having some fun.
But this is like just a fun thing for everybody, because I have a bunch of these too. I found, and I saved some for you guys, a giant stack of Star Wars Insider.
Whoa.
And I have a bunch for you guys, because like they're just so cool.
Dude, Star Wars Insider was the crap.
These are for Tony. And like I have more like that you guys are welcome to look for, but I like picked out issues that I were like, these are the ones you guys would like.
This is super random because I know you're into. I used to read Star Wars Insider in church. I'm sorry, I know it's a little bit heretical, but I do.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you, dude.
Dude, there's one in there. It's an older one that has an interview with Mark Hamill. It's really cool.
Dude, don't like it?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, these are so dope. These are perfect.
There's
Yes.
About specifically this photo shoot, like with this and the brown pants, like
Christopher Lee.
It's really cool. Dude, it's so much fun.
It's a set. I know, right? Set. How could you part with this? All in Qui-Gon?
It's tough.
Cover?
It was tough.
Gosh.
Yeah, but you're worth it. Yeah.
This one, I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to keep it, but I was like, I can't. This is the Mortis issue. Like, but look how cool this cover is.
That's
Crazy. Like I saw this cover and I was like, dude, I can't. That's gonna be so cool. Maybe I could get Matt Lantern to sign it. And then I was looking through it. I'm like, this is the Mortis one. I can't keep this,
dude.
No, for real. Like you could.
I came down on that.
Yeah.
I was just like, you can't keep it.
Yeah. I did find, like, I found some cool stuff for these guys, but I kind of, you have the cool stack. I found all the first seasons of Rebels.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my! I gotta show it off. The dog tulpa.
Dude, these are cool. Like it just transports you.
It does, because like they have ads in them and they have like oh, it's crazy.
Starts via the telephone.
I know, like it's like I remember that.
You order one today.
Yeah.
Talking about the science fiction. I know, dude. They have all the small books.
Celebration.
Oh, the first celebration.
Yeah, exactly. That not for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
That
one's worth a little bit. That one's pretty cool.
That one?
Yeah, because it's got the full. It's got the whole.
Oh my gosh! I can't even I'm gushing.
Dude, it's so cool. Like I found this stack. I'm like, I can't keep all these. I got to give some of these away. These are really fun. They're even though they don't say, they are still like this one is Star Wars Rebels Hair Hunters.
$415.99.
Like all the covers aren't. And I got these are for Cole. These last two.
Oh, Cole, if you're watching, bro. Actually,
Cole, we love you.
oh, he's got the interview with Agent. Oh my god. Oh, he's gonna lose his mind.
Yeah.
That's the greedy dude.
$249. That's a little pricey back then, eh?
But anyway, so
Jars.
we could geek out about Star Wars Insider, but they're seriously so fun. Like I don't know if you guys have ever read an issue. It's been so long since I've ever looked at one, but the older ones, they're just like little time capsules. They're so cool.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome. But
Nicolar.
I know. I mean, like again, I'm sure that there is magic in this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be reading tonight.
Yeah,
hey,
like,
Seth, let's let everybody geek out about Star Wars Insider and close us out.
it's true. So, what? I mean, you just want me to say the thing?
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
thank everybody so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for being here. Seriously, you guys, I mean it. You guys are mad. I know, like we're being very like offloading here, but like they got us so much this week. Like you guys have no idea. They're very kind. You'll see it in the other videos.
Yeah.
So this is just like a small, like just to give back to you guys. Like Tony has been like our mentor for YouTube and just good friends. And honestly, it's hard to say like how far we would have gone, without just the good friends we made along the way. And so thank you guys so much for that. Seriously.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah,
I don't want to mess up all the equipment, but I'll get up and hug you. I get them. I'll get maybe later. Yeah, we could just do it when the ammo drop.
Thank you guys seriously so much for being here. Thanks for Tony for tipping us off to ICCC. It's been awesome.
Yeah, dude.
And next week, I don't know what we're doing because this has been so crazy. It'll likely be the same Dune time and the same Dune channel, but
It's always Dune in time.
we'll see you guys next week.